If there's one thing that I want you to take away from chapter 6, it's this idea that transfer is all about small doable routines and not big and bold events. John Hattie looked at 17,000 classrooms and didn't see a single teacher implementing routines around transfer level work. I don't think that's because of a lack of willingness, or I think even a lack of skill. It's the lack of taking these transfer level practices that we might have learned and bringing that down and making that a small doable activity that students could do each and every day so that they could develop this as a habit. Transfer is about breadth, not depth. How do I take core content that I've learned, and how could I then take it and apply that into multiple contexts? How can I see across those different situations? That's really where transfer sits. Habit 9 is being able to develop an understanding of different contexts and how content relates across those different contexts. How are they similar? How are they different? And habit 10 is really being able to then get into the driver's seat of solving a complex problem. How could we give students a rich problem and try to solve that problem? And that's where a lot of those small doable routines come into this chapter. So lots of practices, tangible practices. These reflective questions are really about what transfer level habits are students regularly engaging in and that we're regularly engaging in. And when students are doing this work, how much time do they really need prompting from us with students? And where are those places where we're seeing students doing that work now? What's that gap, basically, in terms of where students are, where we are, and how do we alleviate that gap? And this is where we then go back into that need it, see it, start it, show it. You go through that same process that you've done in those other chapters. I find transfer to be a really interesting place because it's almost like a blank canvas in terms of classrooms and schools. And I think that we think of it as a project, like this big thing we have to do, or we've got to reinvent everything in order to do transfer. And I just don't think that's true. I think you can do this in 5 minutes in a class. I think we can do that through analogies and metaphors. I think we can do that through generating hypotheses. That doesn't mean problems and projects couldn't be great things that we do, but transfer isn't an event. It's a routine. It's a set of, it's about making transfer a habit. So as you're having these conversation with these reflective questions in this chapter, I really want you to think about how would we make this just a part of a student's experience? Having them build the habit of seeing how things apply in multiple situations and how to think through complex problems in small, doable ways every day. What's 1% better today at transfer? That's really what I'd like you to think about as you're engaging this work, as opposed to we've got to do, it's this big innovative space that we have to get into. While there's some pretty cool things we could do that are much larger, let's start with the practice. Right? Small doable practices, and then we'll build the habit to be better problem solvers and more innovative over time in small doable ways. So those are a few things to think about in those reflective questions, and then going through that process of need it, see it, start it, show it. Thanks, everybody.